Bill Maher called out CNN's Kaitlan Collins on the network's bias. Let's watch.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter.
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And
I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. It does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. What she's kind of saying is, I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like, I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump did.
Insiders just leaked the real reason CNN is panicking. Bill Maher's brutal takedown of Kaitlan Collins has exposed their fake neutrality, and the fallout is catastrophic. This isn't journalism, it's a left-wing hit job crumbling live on air. Bill Maher, a lifelong liberal, detonated CNN's facade of fairness during a fiery interview. He mocked Kaitlan Collins for claiming CNN is where both sides watch, pointing out how the network cherry-picks token conservatives only to ambush them. Maher's clincher? You're not fooling anyone. This is activism, not news. The audience erupted. Even Colbert's crowd laughed when Collins insisted on CNN's objectivity. Maher didn't hold back. Your balance is a PR stunt. The message, CNN's credibility is dead, and Maher just delivered the eulogy.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Can I just follow up on that, because that's a really important statement.
Let me just follow up.
There. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
Collins tried to corner Trump with a lose-lose Ukraine question. Do you want Russia or Ukraine to win? Trump dodged masterfully, prioritizing peace over partisan soundbites. Collins' ploy? Exposed as a desperate bid to paint him as a warmonger or traitor. Her filibustering interview style wasted time, layering commentary, not seeking truth. Trump outmaneuvered her, but CNN aired the clip anyway. The takeaway? Collins isn't a journalist. She's a narrative mercenary. For years, outlets like CNN compared Trump to Hitler, fueling violent rhetoric. After the assassination attempt, Trump Jr. called them out. Your words have consequences. Collins shrugged, citing J.D. Vance's past Hitler comparison, ignoring that Vance later praised Trump. The hypocrisy? Media elites amplify their Hitler parallels but silence conservatives. Their goal isn't reporting, it's radicalizing viewers against Trump. Consequences be damned.
When you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
answer? Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
While Collins obsesses over Trump, Hunter Biden's laptop scandal, proof of influence, peddling, and corruption collects dust. Leaked emails show Hunter selling access to his father, yet CNN labels it old news. Imagine if Don Jr. had similar dirt. Wall-to-wall coverage for weeks. Maher blasted the cover-up. The media protects Democrats, period. Hunter's laptop isn't a conspiracy, it's corruption. CNN won't touch. Former Biden press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre accused Trump's team of North Korea-style press access. Caroline Leavitt dismantled her. You lied about Biden's mental fitness daily. Leavitt's proof? Biden's public stumbles fears Jean-Pierre's scripted denials. The double standard? Biden restricted press access to hide decline. Trump's limits curb hostile theatrics. Jean-Pierre's critique? Projection at its finest?
That environment wasn't just created by Donald Trump.
Okay, but can I say, you can't blame, and everyone wants your dad to be safe. No one wants the threats against his life to happen, but you can't blame the media for those threats. There's been no evidence that's what drove those.
And allows people to have a platform to call someone literally Hitler every day for 9 years, it creates it. Okay. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's a fact.
But as you know, J.D. Vance once likened your dad to Hitler as well. He questioned if he was America's Hitler.
CNN's idea of balance? Letting Ted Cruz speak for 30 seconds before pouncing? Ma called it fake balance, a tactic to pretend fairness while pushing leftism. The network's formula: invite a Republican, then let panels shred them. But when Democrats face heat, CNN shifts to damage control. Example, Hunter's scandals buried. Trump's speeches labeled divisive instantly. Trump restricts press access not to hide, but to avoid ambushes. Leavitt defended the policy. Access is a privilege, not a right. When Collins whined about barred AP reporters, Leavitt fired back. Respect the office, earn the access. The media's tantrum, proof they crave control, not truth. Under Biden, they enjoyed carte blanche to gaslight. But Trump's team won't play along.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't follow this.
Saying you know for a fact that that's what they did? I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
Megyn Kelly mocked Collins' cold-hearted demeanor. Smile once in a while, try warmth. Collins' robotic delivery and perpetual smirk alienate viewers. Kelly's advice? You can be tough without looking like you hate humanity. The subtext? Collins' bias isn't her flaw, it's her brand. And audiences are done with it. Shapiro dissected CNN's audience, leftists seeking echo chambers, not news. They don't want fairness, they want confirmation, he said. CNN's anti-Trump addiction drives away moderates, leaving only die-hard liberals. The result? Plummeting ratings and relevance. Even Colbert's crowd laughed at CNN's objectivity claim.
There was what you'd have to call some sort of media suppression of Hunter Biden's computer right before the election.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Okay,
and the truth is, I still don't know what I think about that. And sometimes,
right.
But I mean, to actually parse everything in there and figure out just how dirty Biden Senior is as a result of the information there.
Can I go to step two? But nothing really. It was common. So it was the kind of sort of everyday graft that's sleazy, but doesn't affect the world. Probably.
Yes.
Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money. But Joe Biden himself would not give away our nuclear secrets to the Chinese. He's not, he has a soft spot for his son, his ne'er-do-well, stupid.
I mean, you've heard his voicemails to his Hunter.
So, like, Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Could you just meet with the Chinese guy next week? It would mean a lot to me. And Joe would do it. And then Hunter would get the money for the meeting.
MSNBC's Nicole Wallace hit a new low, using a 13-year-old cancer patient to attack Trump over January 6th. The narrator slammed it as disgusting politicization. Wallace's stunt backfired. Viewers called it manipulative, proving media's moral bankruptcy. The boy's illness wasn't a story, it was a prop. And America noticed. Post-speech polls showed 69% approved of Trump's address, despite CNN labeling it divisive. The disconnect? Viewers see through the lies. Legacy media's credibility is collapsing as Americans flock to independent outlets. CNN's response? Double down on bias. Maher warned, stop digging your grave.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all the fucks, but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on.
When Collins demanded to know why AP reporters were barred, Leave It shut her down. No one deserves Oval Office access. Trump's team prioritizes journalists who ask questions, not activists seeking sound bites. Collins' outrage? Pure entitlement. Under Biden, sycophants got passes. Under Trump, respect is earned. Jean-Pierre's mentally fit lies about Biden were exposed daily. Leave It's jab. You stood there gaslighting America while he wandered off stage. Biden's decline wasn't hidden, it was ignored. CNN silence, complicity in deception. The contrast? Leave It's transparency versus Jean-Pierre's scripts.
I'm from Alabama. I'm from a very red state. I have a very conservative family, a lot of them who are Trump voters. They watch my show every night, and I think they know that they can trust me, that, we call bullshit on every side, not just whatever leaning our audience may be. And I think that's something that people actually want more of.
Collins touted her Alabama roots to feign neutrality. My family's conservative. The narrator roasted the excuse. Your relatives tuning in doesn't make CNN fair. True balance requires fairness, not genealogy. CNN's leftism is baked into its DNA. Red state roots can't scrub it. Colbert's audience laughed when he called CNN objective. The irony? Even leftists know it's nonsense. CNN's reputation is so toxic, late show crowds treat it as a punchline. The takeaway? CNN's pretense of neutrality is a joke, and the world is laughing.
I'm sorry, but she's only a star with leftists, and the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is, it's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer and also have some warmth.
CNN instantly labeled Trump's speech divisive. Polls proved viewers disagreed. 69% praised it. The network's bias? So blatant, it's self-parody. Their priority isn't informing, it's inflaming, and America's over it. CNN's ratings are collapsing as viewers reject activism masquerading as news. Shapiro nailed it. They're preaching to a shrinking choir. The future? Independent media rising, legacy giants crumbling. Maher's verdict? Stop digging, your hole's deep enough.
Stephen Colbert had on Kaitlan Collins from CNN, obviously talking about how terrible Trump is and what a terrible job he's doing and how Kamala Harris has all the momentum and all of that sort of thing. But that's not the interesting part of the clip. The interesting part of the clip is that Stephen Colbert says, in perfect seriousness, with a straight face, that the legacy media are objective. That CNN is objective, and listen to the reaction of the crowd. Again, this is a crowd who opts into viewing The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which means that they are all on the left.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a... I know
Was that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
Okay, that is an incredible admission, number one, by Stephen Colbert.
Leavitt's press strategy: reward respect, reject ambushes. Her restraint with Trump contrasts CNN's gotcha games. The result? Briefings with substance, not spectacle. CNN hates it because they've lost control.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the president questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't it retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that...
Jean-Pierre's tenure was defined by Biden cover-ups. From no cognitive decline to no border crisis, her lies unraveled daily. Levitt's jab? You're the last person to lecture on transparency. The media's amnesia? Convenient. The public's memory? Perfect.
Your predecessor, Karine Jean-Pierre, who presided over many novel press access restrictions, criticized the recent changes to the press pool made by your office. She said in an interview, quote, what we're looking at is what North Korea is doing. What's your response to that? And can you say anything to allay concerns that unfavorable coverage will be punished in this new press pool system?
I think that's the same individual who said from this podium numerous times that the commander-in-chief was mentally and physically up for the job, which we knew was a lie. Many people in this room knew it was a lie. Many of you were admonished for asking questions about that truth. So when it comes to truth and transparency, this administration, this White House is setting the example. This president is taking far more questions than his predecessor, Joe Biden, did on a daily basis, and that will continue.
Maher begged CNN, stop digging, your Trump derangement is backfiring. But the network won't quit. Their hatred for Trump outweighs their survival instinct. The result? A sinking ship. and Maher's laughing all the way to the bank.
And it's not just the Democrat Party. The mainstream media still doesn't get it. Last night, MSNBC's Nicole Wallace disgustingly looped in a 13-year-old boy with brain cancer into an attack on the president over January 6th. And CNN's first chyron out of the speech called it divisive. President Trump wasn't divisive. The Democrats were. And CNN was proven wrong by their own viewers, 69% of whom, in a post-speech poll, said they had a positive reaction to the president's speech. It's sad and frankly pathetic that Democrats and liberals in the legacy media continue to allow their hatred for the president to override their love for our country. But nevertheless, the president will continue to unify this nation through policies that are grounded in common sense and that uplift all Americans.
Fake neutrality is dead. Bill Maher, Megyn Kelly, and Ben Shapiro buried it.
Okay, and finally, new rule. Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
What's left? A partisan puppet show, hemorrhaging viewers and relevance. Trump isn't the threat. Media lies are. And as legacy outlets spiral, one truth remains. Authenticity always wins.